Hi there folks, welcome to Dunzee's Guitar World. In today's outrageously exciting video, make sure you're sitting down, I will be looking at the second of the two Greco Stratocasters that arrived from Japan a couple of weeks ago. This one is from 1981. Let's remind ourselves what the fretboard looked like. Now it does look a little bit better now, however, it's not the one that ended up on the guitar. So in today's video, I'll show you what I did to get it cleaned up, and I'll tell you what my initial plan was for it and how we ended up at plan B. But I have to say, it's turned out to be a smashing guitar. So let's look at a little clean-up job. So I mean, it really is quite a spectacular job, this home scalloping. So the first thing we need to do here, other than give ourselves a good wash, is get the strings off. Now there we go, underneath. So there has been no finish on that for I don't know how long, 10, 20 years. And that's just filth getting into the maple. Nothing to protect it at all, just look how dirty that is. So it really did need a good clean up. Now I'll take the back plate off because there was something rattling about in the back, and look, to my surprise, what was rattling about was the claw, because there's no springs in it. There was no springs attached to this at all. The first thing I decided to do was sand down this fingerboard to see if we can get it looking a little bit better. To be honest, it couldn't look any worse. So that's at about 50% of the neck has been sanded down, but that dirt is so ingrained into the wood I didn't know how long it was going to take. Now look at the amount of sandpaper that I'd already used. Now some of this is really quite deep, it's like it's been done with a chisel, so I don't know how I would get all that out. But my initial plan was just to get it sanded down and to see if it was playable. So let's take the scratch plate off and check out what the pickups are. There we go, so there's a number on the pickguard as well. Now I think these are the same pickups that were in another Greco, 31276. I think these are XL pickups, and a 210502 I think that is there. So it's a 5-way switch that's on this guitar. That looks to be all original, like I said. I don't see anything that's been changed. So these pickups sounded good on the other Greco that I got recently, so I reckon they're going to sound good on this as well. So there we go, so that's after the first cleanup. I mean, some of that is so deep, like I said, has been done with a chisel, I think. So there are 5 there in the neck pocket, which I think means it's an SE500. The saddles are all stamped Greco guitar. Neck plate D81, so it's an April 1981. It's a nice body here, I think it's 3 pieces, and it has Greco deluxe tuners. It's a Greco Spacey sound from 1981. So yes, it has the same pickups which are in this 1979 Greco, and they sounded really good in this. So let's hear what these 31276 pickups sound like in this 1981 Greco. So these are really good sounding pickups. I mean, these are not in any way the most expensive pickups that Greco had in their guitars, but they sound really good in both the 1979 one and this 1981, which I believe to be a Greco SE500. So what was my initial plan? Well, the initial plan was just to get this cleaned up. I mean, the frets are a little bit dented, and they could do with being re-crowned. So what I was going to do was, I was just going to get this cleaned up as much as I could. As I say, this is pretty deep in here. Get it cleaned up as much as I could, and then put something like linseed oil on it, and just to give it a seal, just to protect the wood a little. So that was my plan, and that's what I went ahead and did. I put new strings on it, set it up, and I recorded all the sound samples, as you will have noticed. I recorded all the sound samples with the neck in this particular condition. And surprisingly, I mean, people are wondering, I wonder how it plays. It actually played really well. It takes a little bit to get used to with the scalloping. I mean, the good thing, inverted commas, the good thing here is that the scalloping isn't as deep as like on the Yngwie Malmsteen Strats. I've had a shot of one of them, and it's like, it's a little bit too much for me. So I guess with this being home done, it's not quite as severe. So it was actually quite easy to play. It didn't make me play any faster, it has to be said, but it did play okay. So all of the sound samples, apart from the very last part of the video, was played with the neck in this condition. So how did plan B come about? So like all of the best plans in life, although this one wasn't influenced by alcohol, like all the best plans in life, this came about by accident. I posted on Facebook a photograph of the guitar with the neck as it was, and said, I fixed it up a little bit, I might need to get a new neck at some point. But I hadn't really thought about getting a new neck. I just thought, I can play it as is. And then I got a message from a friend who says, there's actually a neck here that's never been used, it's been lying about for ages and ages. You can have it if you want. So I went and I picked up this rather beautiful neck. Look at the flame on that. Now, there was no name on it. I think it's maybe guitar something. I'll maybe put the name in here of what we think it is, because there was no name on it. But man, the profile of this neck is just absolutely perfect. So I was not 100% sure if the neck was going to fit on. What I did was, at the weekend there, I thought, I could just give it a little try. And before I knew where it was 3 hours later, and it was on the guitar. I did have to do a couple of things. The fret ends, I had to round them a bit. Now, I haven't done the best job on them, but they're not sharp anymore. I had to get it to fit in the neck pocket slightly bigger than the neck there, so I had to shave a little bit off the very end of the neck, just with a chisel, take that off there, and it fitted in. There was no holes drilled in the neck when I got it, so I had to drill the holes in it as well. Now, what took me the longest was the tuners. Now, these tuner holes on here are slightly closer together than the ones that were on the original neck, and the problem I had was, if you see these tuners fit together, so they were really tight, they wouldn't push in. So what I ended up having to do was file just a little bit in each one to get them to match up. And there we go. The only other thing I had to do was I had to tighten the truss rod quite a bit, raise the saddles and everything. But this took me ages. That took way longer than anything else I had to do with this, actually filing down those tuners. But it's ended up playing really well. Now, I will say the nut needs to be filed down a little. It's not perfectly set up. I probably need to crown the frets properly and get it set up completely. So the very last part of the video, I just recorded a jam on the solo on the last track. This is my excuse for it not being in tune. The guitar isn't exactly set up perfectly as yet, but it plays great. It sounds really good, and I've got to say, this neck is a fantastic neck. Like I say, I'll put the name of what I think it is. So huge thank you to my mate Chris for giving me this neck for free, if you can believe that. So that was not my plan. My plan was just to get this old neck, some neck in them, as we say in Scotland. My plan was just to get this old neck cleaned up and put some protection on it, like linseed oil, or maybe even spray some lacquer on it or something like that, because it did play okay, and just forge ahead with this. But then, say, by accident, I posted a photograph of the guitar, and then I got a free neck, just like that. So there it is, a 1981 Greco SE500. I still have a couple of things to do, like I said. Still need to fix the frets properly, fixing that. And I've ordered a decal, same decal as on the Greco neck to put on here. I mean, I'm not going to pretend this is a Greco neck, but this is, say, a beautiful neck. It reminds me quite a lot of the 1979 SE800 Jai that I have, the Jeff Beck model. It's just got a chunkier neck than that. So there you go, folks. Another Greco guitar rescued from Japan and looking fantastic. As ever, it's a privilege and a pleasure bringing you content on Dunsies Guitar World. Cheers for now.